Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers have more information about the seller and the business to help them make a buying decision. Now, before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of this business. It's a digital product and info product business created in November of 2015 in the legal niche. And the average monthly revenue for the business is $36,513 and makes an average of $18,179 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are a primary domain and all site content and files, 301 redirect domain, secondary domains, a Shopify account, social media accounts and pages, which include Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, 8 trademarks, an email list with over 6,000 subscribers, contractor relationships, an affiliate program, and landing pages and funnels. So for everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 63784 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So that's a brief overview of the business for sale. Let's hear from the seller with me today. So welcome to the show, Christina. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing well. Well, I'm looking forward to learning more about you and your business. So to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah. So I don't even know what number this was, Try It Business. I had tried a couple other businesses prior to this one, and this is the first one that really took off. And I've actually since started a secondary business that isn't related to this one. So yeah, I would say that I have a good amount of experience in the online information digital marketing space since about 2013-14.
Nice. And was it always in this realm of digital products, or did you try out like e-commerce, physical, content-based, for example, or was it all within this realm, would you say?
I tried out services. Services seemed like the natural fit for someone starting in a business, especially when I was younger and had a lot more time and a lot less money. That was a pretty easy trade-off. And actually, that was kind of how this business came to be, is I offered a legal service and someone approached me and they said, "Hey, I can't afford your service, but is there something else, like maybe behind the scenes that you're using that I could get my hands on and just like kind of DIY it from what you give me?" This was a very good friend, by the way. So it wasn't.
Okay. Yes.
But I was like, yeah, I think we could make that work. And so I helped them out. And that was how this started. And she turned around and she told me, like, you should really sell this. And I thought about it for a while. And then I put it up for sale, and not the business, but the actual products that I sell, back in 2015. And I really didn't have much interest for the first like 3 months or so. And then all of a sudden I did this joint venture webinar with someone and it took off. And like it's never stopped since then. So that was really how the business got started and like where the idea came from. It's literally, I know this sounds funny because of your audience and stuff, but it's literally just like from my head, I created this. And then that's how I've created every product since.
Wow. Well, it's awesome that this business, after you had experimented with other businesses, it kind of came about as a result of a need from a friend to start it off. The second part, though, is that you kept with it for 3 months, potentially questioning the product market fit, but then it broke through after having done this joint venture, and it really broke through in a big way too. So that's really great to hear, that maybe for those listening who feel like they haven't hit product market fit on something that they saw early validation for, that potentially it could be that you need just more exposure or whatever it was that allowed you to break through.
Yeah, the 10 site visitors we were getting in November 2015 was not cutting it.
Nice. Well, good on you for deciding, I guess, go big with a push, just really see if there was that market fit. Okay. It's been a few years since you've had this business. So why are you deciding to sell it now instead of keeping it and growing it further?
Yeah, almost 7. It's crazy. So I'm a late bloomer of sorts. I just got married this year, and not to get like TMI, you can hear from my voice, I'm a female and I'm running out of time, like quite literally, to start a family. And so with all of the life changes that are happening in my life, I just moved to a new place, just got married. I'm finally in a situation where I feel like that could be a possibility, but I just have too much on my plate running two businesses and also a household and starting a family. And so the second business that I have, that's relatively new. So obviously that requires a lot of time and attention. This business that I'm selling, I barely do anything with it, but it is just that kind of like constant background noise in my head of like, oh, I should be doing this, oh, I should be doing that. So I really feel like on some level, this is a great opportunity for someone who just like has more time and more interest in going full speed ahead with this, where that interest has kind of waned for me, mostly because my entire life has shifted from being nomadic, single, living all over the world, whatever, to now being very established, having a home, wanting to start a family, having this other secondary business that I quite honestly is just like more fun for me because maybe it's new and novel or whatever. So I feel like this, like my baby business that gave me everything that I have right now, I feel like it's time to push it out of the nest and give it over to somebody that will not give, but you know what I mean? Like sell it to someone who's ready to take it on and can really take it to the next level, because that's something that, you know, I haven't run paid advertising to it in over a year and a half. I mean, we can get into it. I've tried it a few times, but like I'm not a person who knows anything about paid ads. Like I've tried to hire agencies and that hasn't worked out. Like that's really like the next opportunity for this business. And I just don't have the time because I'm focused on my other business to like take a detour and learn about ads and like apply ads and monitor ads and like all that stuff. Like I don't have any interest or time to do that right now. And, you know, second, like I don't work in this business, so I could just keep cashing checks from it, whatever, fine. But it would be nice starting a family and like now with this new house and everything to have a little bit more cash in the bank, just upfront versus like waiting, you know, and cashing those checks as the months go by, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Well, first of all, congratulations on establishing your nest and the start of the next chapter.
Well, no kids yet, but you know.
Well, the nest in the sense of,
Sure,
I
yeah,
think
no,
with
I
digital
understand.
nomads, you can feel a bit like being a bird without that nest, you know, going from one
Right,
place to
yeah.
the next. And so at least you have a physical location to call home through which to expand on that nest in the next chapter. And then the next point, yes, completely understandable as far as wanting the mental space and the finances to be able to focus on your next project. One thing that I hear very frequently is that launching or building the business is very different from operating and growing it. So it's natural for somebody maybe who enjoys that. I mean, you've done both definitely with the 7-year business, but to know that you, in order to grow it further, it would require this new set of skills that you just don't want to learn or hire out for, then yeah, it makes sense that this would be one of those signs that it's a time for a transition or selling the business in this case.
Yeah.
Cool. So you've had this business for a while and you definitely have some significant success with it. So what did you learn from building this business that seemed to work, that contributed to that success?
So many things. I had to pause because I'm like, well, where do I begin? It's taught me everything I know about the online space, about creating content, about, you know, what kind of content connects and resonates, what kind of products connect and resonate. I mean, I went from not being able to understand what people would want to buy to now being able to do this practically in my sleep. It's also taught me, you know, like a lot of discipline and as far as, you know, killing your darling and getting rid of the products that aren't selling so that you can focus on the ones that are. So that's been an iteration that we've had to evolve through. And then the most recent, like before Black Friday last year, we launched like brand new custom Shopify site developed by, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it was developed by, but a very, very reputable developer. Like if I said who it was, like half your audience would be like, oh yeah, I know who they are. Anyway, they did a great job. And, you know, my designer did a great job. And it was a very well researched, developed site and it smashed on Black Friday. It was great. Anyway, that taught me a lot about basically like consumer behavior, because what we did was we monitored and saw what people were doing and how they were interacting with the site and like how they were using blog posts or how they were going to the blog first and then shopping. And even the colors of the site, like trying to make it more gender neutral so that it was a little bit more welcoming. And we have seen an increase in sales as far as our male customer base has gone. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is the most intentional version of the business as it exists today, save for extra marketing efforts, just because, like I said, I'm not working at all in the business other than just making sure our contractors are paid. And that's it.
Got it. That definitely worked to grow the business that brought you to the success that you saw now. Was there anything you tried with this business that didn't work out as well?
Yeah, we've tried quite a few things that did not work as well as I thought they would. For one, funnels. I have funnels. I'm not that good at them. I've never been good at them. People always are like, how are you doing this? You're sending people directly to a homepage of a Shopify site. And I'm like, yes. And they're like, and this is how much you're making. And I'm like, yes. I have funnels. I have hired a lot of people over the years to try to help me with funnels. But I would say that's like something that I feel like I've failed at because our funnels are good. If you look at them, they have pretty high conversion rates. I don't want to say the wrong things off the top of my head, but easily over 20% from cold traffic and just people randomly finding us on TikTok or Instagram or something. But I wish I had found a way to drive more traffic to those funnels, like paid traffic, namely. I wish I hadn't trusted the ads agencies that I'd hired so much because one of them that worked out well for like a couple months and then they went off and had a kid and like that was it. And then like another one, I don't remember exactly what happened because it's been a couple of years now, but he basically did the same thing to all his clients and it ended up in some legal problems, whatever. I got enough of my money back that I was fine, but didn't get the ads that I paid for, didn't get the management that I paid for. And so that just like those experiences just kind of burned me on ads and I never tried them again. And I was over it. So anyway, I would say that's like our big failures in the business is everybody talks about funnels and paid traffic. And like, those are two things that I never really figured out. And I just made organic traffic and affiliates and content work in our favor.
Yeah. Well, I think it says something that despite what you said is your quote unquote failure to expand the types of funnels that you have, that you had the conversion rates that you did and you have the success that you're seeing on a monthly basis, that I guess it speaks to the opportunity for growth, which we can get into in a little bit. But before we do, let's talk about how traffic is generated. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, right now, all of our traffic is organic. It's coming from mostly just people searching and finding us on Google, to be honest. We have quite a bit of traffic that finds us through our social channels as well, like Pinterest and Instagram. And I've just been kind of playing around with TikTok. Long story short, I've been playing around with my business that's for sale. I've been playing around with its TikTok just because I was a part of like this group coaching, like challenge thing. So that's been fun, but like hasn't really driven that much traffic yet. We haven't been consistently posting to YouTube. I just kind of picked that up again because I was feeling guilty about not doing anything in my own business. That's just a product of me being like, well, I'm good at YouTube. I'll just do some videos. So we've been repurposing some videos to YouTube over the last like month, just basically to keep that channel alive a little bit. But yeah, a lot of our traffic just comes from people knowing about us in the industry, referring us, Google searches, our content. Obviously, people are finding the answers to the questions they're searching for inside of our content. And then they're intrigued. They get on our email list. We remarket them. We sell to them. So that's been a big part of our traffic acquisition.
Okay. And on the point of traffic, before we had talked about the strength of your brand and its importance on the success that you saw with this business, would you say that the brand has been important in terms of the type of traffic that you've seen, or just the recurring traffic or the recurring customers that make it less reliant on new traffic from new customers?
Our brand is really integral to the business, and it is a really well-known brand at this point. That's why there's so many trademarks that are included in the sale, just because people know not just the brand, but kind of almost like the secondary marks that we've been using throughout programs and things like that. People get really excited. I mean, they will email us months in advance asking when our next sale is, or, hey, I know you always do a Black Friday sale. What dates is that going to be? I want to mark it on my calendar. So people know our brand, they like our brand, they trust our brand, and they share our brand, which is the most important thing, with their friends and new people that are entering into the industry and need our products. So that's probably something really important for anyone that's out there to either building a business or anyone interested in buying this business to know. And then the cool part is we have about 13% almost like every month. It's like 10 to 13%. If you look across our Shopify data on the back end, people returning to buy products from us every single month. So that's really cool to see that many people that are coming back. And of course, every single time we're treating them very well. And we have a completely automated surprise and delight onboarding sequence that happens when they get their products, and then they get a couple other things that are delivered via automated emails. And that's something that they've always really enjoyed and just written into us about and told us what a great experience they've had. I don't think it's normal that we get so many emails that are unsolicited about their experience with our company, and especially the product that we sell. People are like, yeah, I wasn't expecting much, but you guys really delivered, or I had such a good experience, or I felt really safe because I was using your XYZ, the product. So it is a pretty unique thing to have with the product that we sell. And I'm really proud of that.
Nice. That's probably a great descriptor for a product that is in the legal niche where customers feel safe as a result of that, I can imagine.
Maybe the buyer will feel differently, but one of my core beliefs was that I should never scare the customer. So I've never done any like negative or scary advertising in the marketing or content or whatever that we produce. So anyway, I think all around, it's just this very deep trust that we've built in the industry. Like, we are known as the go-to, but we're also known as a brand and a company with products that are very, very reputable and they can trust.
Yeah. I can't say I've heard a business owner have as part of their ethos to not scare their customers, but I can understand why that would be the case, again, in the legal space, where that I can imagine there being a lot of marketing that does just that. Well, let's go on to the work required to run this business. So you mentioned that you don't need to do a lot in this business. You've felt a bit guilty for not posting YouTube videos, but it seems like that was less of a necessity for operating the business. Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business to maintain it?
Yeah, nobody believes me. I literally go in and I pay my contractors. That's it. That's all I
Nice.
have to do. If it sells, great. If it doesn't, just collect the checks. That's fine. But it really is that much work. Once or twice a year, I do go in behind my ops director and I review what she's done inside of our products, just basically updating them, any kind of new shifts in the industry, any legal changes that have happened in the world, right? Like, every once in a while, there's a big privacy shift and we need to modify one of our products. But that's happened once, maybe twice, where we've absolutely had to do that. And the good thing about all the stuff in the legal world is you know about it years in advance. So like, there's a new privacy thing that's happening that's going to affect one of our products in, I think it's 3 years from now. So we have a long time to actually figure out how we're going to modify those products and which products we need to modify. And we're just a little bit more diligent than pretty much anybody else out there. I don't know anyone else that checks as much as we do. And again, it just goes back to that good customer experience. And so that's me following behind the research that she's done and integrated into the products. And then she leaves them as comments for me. And then I go through and I either approve or deny those comments or change the language if I need to. I mean, all in all, even for as many products as we have, that doesn't take that long because we just have such a good SOP for going through that it doesn't take that long to make those changes or updates or anything like that. And then, yeah, like I said, I do produce some YouTube videos more out of guilt than anything. It's not like our YouTube channel is popping off. I wouldn't consider that like a hot asset in the sale of the business. It exists. It's pretty legit looking, but it's got about 500 followers. It's not like a YouTube channel.
Sure. Just a YouTube channel, single channel.
Yeah. And, we actually use that a lot in our customer service because instead of always just replying and it's like very generic in words, it's really helpful for our customer service contractor to just link to one of the videos and people can follow along with that because we do have some tutorial type videos. So people can watch that instead of just going through and reading something in an email or a blog post. So that's really how we use the YouTube channel. Yeah. So
Okay, nice. Well, it certainly sounds like a low maintenance business with a lot of time for growth. So, on that note, let's talk about the opportunities and the risks. So, starting with the opportunities, if you were to keep the business, what are some ways you would try to grow it?
paid traffic, hands down. I mean, there's nothing running to the site right now. And we've just been collecting data on people. So it's like literally, if you know how to pull the right triggers with Facebook ads or YouTube ads or whatever, Like if I knew how to do that, I mean, that would change the entire trajectory of the business and everything. That seems so daunting to me because I have just chronic things health wise that are happening. And then on top of that, being older and potentially starting a family, that sounds overwhelming to me at this point. So I think that's a huge opportunity for someone who is not in my situation. I also think our licensing program, which if I were to, like, if for whatever reason this doesn't sell, I would continue to pursue our licensing program because that's monthly recurring revenue. And that's something that we've tested successfully, but it isn't something that I had up in time for the sale of the business. So that's something that's not even reflected here. But that would be a huge opportunity for someone to be licensing this out, especially with how fast the online education space is growing and how well the products that we have could support that in a licensing sense. So I actually have a lot of the materials and stuff already created for that. I can show people that if they were to buy it, we could walk through. Yeah, I think those are the two biggest opportunities that come to mind.
Well, I think those are some pretty compelling opportunities. And I will just remind the listeners that along with the opportunity to run ads in general, you also have that email list, which I'm not sure if you're aware, you might be, just that having that email list, you can use that to create a customer avatar for who you target the advertising to, essentially. So that's a nice little pairing there for anybody who does want to grow in that way.
Yeah, and we do have about 18,000. So we clean our list very frequently. Like we want those emails to get delivered. And so in lieu of vanity metrics of having a large list, we actually just have an email list that actually delivers. So the 6,000, it's actually almost 7,000 people that are on that list. They're getting our emails and they're opening them and they're clicking. That's not just like a bunch of people that are stale because we kick you off the list if you don't open emails within 3 months or so. Again, all this is automated. Like it's all automated, the list cleaning, all that stuff. So we also have like an additional 18,000 emails to remarket to as far as like if someone were to do retargeting or something like that.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think it's definitely a huge opportunity for this business. So, of course, with opportunities, would also like to discuss at least one of the risks with this business model or this business specifically. What do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I think the biggest risk is stripping it of its brand and brand personality. Like we've done a really good job of building up exactly what this business means to the industry that it's in. Like I said, that trust is there with the customers, the reputation is there. But if someone were to just go in and take away all of that personality that the brand has, not that it's like egregious or anything, but I'm thinking of like Chubbies, right? Like Chubbies.com has certain things about their brand that's really interesting and engaging. And ours aren't risque or anything like Chubbies are. But we do have certain things about that brand and that personality that people know, like, and trust. And so I think the biggest risk there is if someone were to come in and be like, we're going to overhaul this brand, that would be a big mistake because of all the equity in the trademarks and the brand and the customer base, the reputation. And then I would be remiss to say there's definitely people that have popped up that emulating our business model and trying to do the same thing. And I don't worry about them. I've never lost sales that I can figure out. Like, I don't worry about them, but I just feel like I should mention that there are some other people that have moved into that space. But I think that just speaks more to the fact that there's a lot of buyers in that space than the fact that you should worry about the competition.
Yes, definitely. It's a good sign and used across, like if you're talking about physical products, looking at areas where there's already signs of demand, you're essentially looking for competitors to validate the fact that you're in a space worth being in. So, I mean, in my opinion, I would say great to hear that there are competitors and that you have built this certain ways to make the business defensible in light of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I should have mentioned earlier, I'm an IP attorney. So like that's my background is trademarks.
Hence the 8 trademarks.
Exactly. Yeah. Anytime I could turn around and get a trademark for this business, I did. And obviously maintained them from there and took good care of that and always had that in mind, just because that does help with, whenever you can reinforce those trademarks, use them over and over again in your content. That's always helpful.
Yep. Nice. Well, a few questions to wrap this up then. First is, how much support are you willing to offer a new buyer?
I would definitely be up for 3 months of the kind of support that I do now, which I know I just said is nothing, but like up to 2 hours a week. And if the buyer ever wanted more than that, like they found 2 hours isn't enough, or they need more calls, emails, et cetera, than that, I'm up for a consulting arrangement. I have consulting clients in other industries now. And that's kind of what my second business is. That's not something that's weird or whatever. So I would be up for working with them on phone, email, Voxer, Slack, whatever works best for them, and communicating and just kind of supporting them along that if they need additional support after those 3 months or above and beyond 2 hours per week for those first 3 months.
Okay, great. And just confirming that you would commit to a non-compete after this business is sold?
Yes, of course.
Perfect. And are you open to something like an earnout?
I would prefer cash because I don't actually have to sell it. That's what I'm trying to say. But for the right buyer, I would definitely consider an earnout if that's what they needed.
Okay, great. And last two questions. Putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
I've been preparing it for sale for the last 4 years.
Wow.
I mean, more or less, right? So anything I did, I was always had this in the back of my mind that this could happen. In 2017, I branched off. I created this as its own separate brand that didn't have my name anymore. I started looking at like how we could design the website so that it's actually more like a brand and not just like someone's random website with some products available. So there's a lot of intention behind it. I probably would have put it up for sale sooner just to see what happens, but I got in a relationship and now we got married. So I was a little distracted there for a while. Yeah, I think we definitely have always had an eye on this of creating a good asset for someone else, the right person to take over and manage. I think that's pretty rare. I think most people just start a business to make a buck. And I've really started this business and carried it on to make sure that our customers are super satisfied and happy and that our products are top notch. And luckily, that all lends really well to a buyer now because there's not much work they have to do after 6 years of perfecting those products.
Yeah. So first of all, I love hearing that because that's not often spoken about, and especially in the online business space about like right in the beginning, but preparing the business for the potential for a sale, even if you might not sell the business, because either way, the outcome is that you have a well-organized business, it's profitable, and it's positioned where you don't have to work constantly in the business. You can remove yourself or you can spend time on it if you want to. So either way, it's just making for an enjoyable experience, whether you continue to be the owner or if somebody were to acquire the business. So yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, last question, potentially. Is there anything you'd like to add that you think I might have missed during the interview?
Yeah, so I had some people that were like, "Hey, what's going on with like November and July?" Because we have such high revenue in those months. And typically in August and December, sometimes we'll even see a dip. I think your site only shows them a year at a time, like the last year. And so I just want to point out that those are our mid year and Black Friday sales, respectively. So those are very much planned into our sales cycle and cadence. And that's actually something that's completely automated. Well, this 4th of July, I was getting married. The 4th of July prior to that, I was on vacation. Thanksgiving, Black Friday, like those are holidays to me. I'm with my family. I haven't been working inside a Black Friday sale since 2017. So for someone that sees those like wild swings in revenue, especially in those months, I just want to point that out because it's like, what is happening? And then the dips that you see in August and December, those are affiliate payouts because obviously we don't pay that out like right away. Like what if someone needs to return a product? So those get paid out the month after. So everybody's like, well, not everybody, I'm being hyperbolic. But I've had a few people that were like, what is happening here? And that's exactly what's happening. It's all planned. It's all automated as far as the sales go. And also, if you look back, you're going to see the exact same pattern, lower numbers, albeit in past years, but you'll see the exact same pattern every single year since 2016.
Okay, yeah, that's a great point. And yeah, for anyone listening, if you want to unlock the listing and then schedule a call or ask any specific questions about certain months or line items, then you certainly can. But that is certainly revealing. Okay, just looking here, I think this might be the perfect place to wrap this up. So, Christina, thank you so much for sharing your story and joining us on today's episode. And yeah, I hope your business is purchased in the near future and by the right buyer.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Me too.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 63784. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.